well, all that laughing and all that, that's over.
Response that it is discretionary, and I'll cite the rule. Subsection J says prior factual or legal rulings by a disqualified judge may be reconsidered and vacated or amended by a successor judge based upon a motion for reconsideration, which must be filed within 30 days of the order of disqualification, unless good cause is shown for a delay in moving for reconsideration or other grounds for reconsideration exist. So that is discretionary. It is not mandatory for a judge to do that. But I will tell you that in this case, I am going to decline to reconsider any of the previous rulings by my predecessor judge, and that's based upon my review of the court file, my review of the transcripts, and my review of everything that counsel for both sides has provided to me. But I will also place on the record that I did go through each and every single one of the defense's assertions with respect to previous rulings that my predecessor judge made. And for the record, I'm going to deny your motion for a judgment of acquittal, which was included in your motion for reconsideration of the previous rulings by the predecessor judge. And I will also place on the record that I'm going to deny the motion for judgment of acquittal after the jury's verdict as well. So at this juncture, unless there is any legal reason why either side believes that I have not addressed everything, that we cannot proceed to sentencing, please speak up, and I'll start with the state.
Judge, I believe that is all the matters that we're awaiting a ruling, so I think that we can proceed to sentencing.
And defense.
We're still missing a ruling on the motion for new trial.
And I will deny that motion as well.
If you ever wish payday came sooner, this might actually help. There's a banking app called Current with a bunch of useful features. And one of the main ones lets you access up to $750 of your paychecks early. If you switch your payroll over with Current, you get a full set of features like paycheck advance, fee-free overdraft, and the build card and more. It handles everything in one app. I actually like that myself, which is why I partner with them. And right now, they're giving $75 to anyone who signs up using my link or scans the QR code on the screen. If you scan the QR code, it'll take you straight to the sign-up page, or you can create your own account. Just go through the normal sign-up steps, enter information, order your card. After you complete those steps, you'll see the option pop up to enter my promo code, which unlocks the $75 bonus when you switch your direct deposit. So make sure you go through the full sign-up process so you don't miss it. If you ever feel like managing money is stressful and tight sometimes, it's definitely worth checking out because that's literally what it's designed for. That right there should have let y'all know it's all over. Because what she's saying is, hey, the judge might have did this, might have did this, might have did that, but I'm still on board with that. And if a judge is telling you they're on board with something and that the previous judge, in their opinion, really didn't do nothing wrong, to me, it seems like it's going to get a little vengeful. Like, why is this in my court? Because the way she's saying it, it's like, oh, my homie, my rider, you know what I'm saying? This sounds like a brotherhood or a sisterhood of the gavel. You know, so when you're hearing this shit, just know the case is done already based off of this shit. But don't worry, it gets worse.
Does the defense have any witnesses that you all want me to hear from?
No, Judge, the defense will not be calling any witnesses.
Okay. And so we're waiting.
Judge, she is here. Ms. Mace is here.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll let the state call their witnesses.
Yep. The state would call Cendrica Mays.
Okay.
To the Honorable Judge, my name is Cendrica Mays. I'm the mother of Charles Jones, known to me as Julio Foolio. I stand before this court carrying a pain that no mother should ever have to endure. My son was more than a rapper or a public figure. He was my child. He was deeply loved by his family, his friends, and the people whose lives he touched. Since the day he was taken from us, my life has never been the same. The actions connected to this case did not just take one life. They destroyed an entire family emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. My son was hunted, followed, and ultimately murder in what authorities describe as a coordinated plot involving multiple individuals. It is extremely painful to hear Alicia Andrews portray herself as someone who didn't know what was going on. While evidence and testimony showed she traveled with the others, tracked my son's movements, and remained involved throughout the events leading to his death. Whether she pulled the trigger or not, my son would still be alive today had people not participated in carrying out this plan. A mother lives with instinct and intuition, and mine tells me that this was not ignorance. This was participation. It was calculated. They planned it. On my way driving here, every second, every minute, every hour, they could have changed their mind. They could have turned around. but yet and still, they carried on the plan to hunt my son down like a deer in the woods, like they were hunting. This was loyalty to violence over humanity. My son was treated like his life did not matter. He was ambushed and robbed of the chance to grow older, become a father one day, continue his career, and simply live. Every birthday, holiday, and family gathering is now filled with grief. I replay the memories of my son constantly. I think about his laugh, his voice, and the moments we will never get back. The trauma from this loss follows me every single day. No sentence will ever bring Charles right to me, but accountability matters. Alicia family can see her. They can talk to her. She can see her child, but I can't see my child. I have to go to visit him in a wall at the cemetery. I ask this court to remember that behind every headline is a real family suffering permanent damage. My son's life mattered. He was not disposable. The emotional devastation caused by this murder reaches far beyond the courtroom and will affect my life forever. I respectfully ask the court to impose a sentence that reflects the seriousness of the role Alicia Andrews played in the events that led to my son's death, because she knowingly knew what was going on. Choices were made, and those choices had deadly consequences. Thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of my son, Charles Jones.
So here's the thing. There's only two ways you can look at these guys saying we're not calling anybody for Alicia Andrews. Either y'all know y'all was going to get the 15, which really turns into 9, or y'all really thought that Charles was going to do something that nobody else could do. And I'm going to be fair. This shit right here is dumb. Because on one hand, people look at Foolio's mom like she's a gang member, right? She's not. But if she think that the rest of the world about to have compassion for her child who courted death damn near in every song of his, we're not. So justice served, justice delivered? I don't know. But if I ran around and I said, yo, F this person, F that person, F his dead family, F this dead family. Hey, bro, I'm still out here. I'm kicking it with the people that's putting shit under all this shit and everything. Y'all don't think in y'all minds that that might come back and get me? I'm actually prompting people to take drastic measures to come and take me out. And then shouldn't I notice? So you think driving to another city that's 2 hours and a half away, that's going to make you safe? Well, R.I.P. Foolio, but watch how Alicia Andrews' lawyers get effing destroyed.
Also received the defense motion to take judicial notice where they listed, I think, 8 different cases.
I saw that. It's filed in the court file just for the record, May 8th of 2026.
And Judge, I noticed that they were either manslaughter cases or leaving the scene of death. However, upon reviewing them, we did note that they are clearly distinguishable from the facts of this case. The majority of them were negotiated pleas and had reasons for a downward departure. Some of them were, that was the only reason, was a negotiated plea. Others were mental disorder or unsophisticated manner, isolated incident. And Judge, we would argue that those are completely separate and distinct from the facts that you have in front of you, Judge. This case was originally filed as a murder too. The jury has spoken and we respect the jury's verdict. They have found her guilty of a manslaughter. What we're asking the court to do is to give this defendant accountability for her participation in this crime. And we are going to be asking for, she scores at bottom of the guidelines, 9 years prison, Florida State Prison, and we're going to be asking for a 15-year prison sentence based on the serious nature of this particular case and the way that it was conducted and carried out, and also based on the mother of the victim in this case also wanting a serious sentence reflective of the facts and nature of this particular case, Judge.
All right, thank you. Defense?
They're arguing plea deals. They're not arguing that people stood before the judge, throwing themselves for the mercy of the judge. They're arguing plea deals. That ain't the same. If people who don't want to understand this, you didn't argue for a plea deal for Alicia Andrews. See, this would have made sense had she said, you know what, I'm tapping out. I ain't going to do this. It is what it is. Hey, all this shit. then y'all would have some type of damn leg to stand on. Y'all brought up plea deals as a part of somebody who took it to trial. That shit ain't gonna work. But let's see if he makes any sense. Spoiler warning, he doesn't.
Yes, thank you, Judge. So we are asking the court not to give a 15-year sentence in this case. We're asking the court actually to depart downward under 921.0026, section 2B. Judge, in that section specifically states the defendant was an accomplice to the offense and was a relatively minor participant in the criminal conduct. We believe that applies here. We also believe there are some other subsections that apply, but that one in particular, just based off of the jury's verdict in this case, where there are 4 other co-defendants who were convicted of much higher offenses that were actually facing the death penalty. The state recognizes that there was a difference between those co-defendants and Ms. Andrews, and the fact that they were convicted and are likely to be sentenced or will be sentenced to life in this case. Ms. Andrews' goal, after having read all the transcripts and gone to the trial, is very much minor when compared to those co-defendants in this case. So we're asking the court to go below the guidelines. The reason why I cited or filed a motion to take judicial notice of the 8 cases that I did send over to the court is not because those cases are mirror images of this case. This case is probably a unicorn. I'm not, based off of the motions that we filed, right, the motions for new trial and the motions for reconsideration, Judge, we obviously believe that the facts of this case don't amount to a manslaughter charge. There was no manslaughter here at all in this case. And that was argued out in the motions, and so I won't go over that. But this case, to find another case that's exactly like it, was not really our intent, but we don't know that would actually ferret out. But that's not really our intent. The intent of filing a motion to take judicial notice of these 8 cases is to see a range of different sentences for people who've been convicted of either manslaughter or some sort of act that resulted in a death that wasn't an intentional act. And so all of those cases, if we go down the list, right, state of Florida versus Vandal Stedman, that individual received 7 years in the Department of Corrections, followed by 8 years of probation. He scored exactly the same amount of total sentencing points as Ms. Andrews. And in that instance, he made a statement, a spontaneous statement at the scene to officers that he shot him. I shot him, were his words, right? In a situation like that, that's obviously more egregious than any acts that Ms. Andrews is accused of doing or committing. Going down the line, Francisco Vallejo, the state of Florida, that was a 2000 case. In that situation, the victim was shot numerous times outside of a trailer park, and the defendant was initially charged with second-degree murder. He pled down to manslaughter. He received a 5-year sentence in the Department of Corrections. He had the same amount of total sentencing points as Alicia Andrews at 176. There are people who had even more total sentencing points. Michelle Diane Young, that's the 3rd case cited there. That individual had 180.2 total sentencing points, received a 5-year sentence in the Department of Corrections, followed by 10 years of probation. And all of these individuals that I list, and I won't go through each one, but it's all attached to the motion to take judicial notice. All of their score sheets, all of their arrest affidavits, the judgment and sentences. All these individuals, none of them got 15-year sentences. The state is asking for the max of someone who's never been convicted of anything before in her life. This is her first offense, and for reasons that are cited in the motions, the replies, Ms. Andrews will be taking an appeal on the case, on the jury decision and the rulings that were made in the trial, right? And so she does intend to have a new trial if the appellate court grants it. So she's not testifying here today, and no one else, no witnesses are testifying here today for that reason. So we're asking the court not to take into account the fact that Ms. Andrews is not on the stand testifying, or that her parents are not on the stand testifying on her behalf. And we're asking the court to depart below the guidelines to give her a credit time served, and followed by 5 years of probation.
Anything else from either side before I impose sentence?
No, Your Honor.
No, Judge.
All right. So the court, having obviously reviewed the trial transcripts, the court file, all the evidence in this case, the pre-sentence investigation report, the argument of counsel, is the judgment sentence in order this court to adjudicate the defendant guilty, sentence her to 15 years in the Florida State Prison. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you.
That man walked up there, told that judge, hey, we don't give a shit what's going on. We trying for a new trial and all this shit. Alicia Andrews, if she goes to trial, she should say I have ineffective counsel. If you notice, well, y'all don't know this, but I can't even say it shit. Let me not even say that, because I think I told the person I would never say this shit. They could, and I'll react to it, but I won't. But basically is this: Buddy got superstar tendencies, main character tendencies, player one tendencies. You told the judge essentially, it don't matter what the hell you do here. We going to another branch of government to look at all of this shit anyways, and we're going to try it again. If she gets granted another trial, she will be fried. There was shit in there that they didn't even present, aka the prosecutors did not put up evidence that would have eviscerated her, and they would have gave her ass a life sentence. So I'm not sorry in what I'm about to say, but take your ball and go home. I don't think that Cisco would have given her 15 years max. I don't. I'm just going to be fair. And I believe that y'all shook the apple cart way too damn hard. If this was the plan, it was a stupid plan. You should have let her sit up there, get sentenced by Cisco. If Cisco would have gave her 15 years, then you couldn't appeal based off of all of this shit that y'all already had. It was stupid. This, in my opinion, this was dumb as hell. So she still ended up getting 15 years. Whoop-de-doo. So now, ladies, I'm single for the next 9 years until she gets out. I'm just kidding. I've never spoken to that woman a day in my life. When I mention a lot of people in here, especially the women that I know a lot of y'all like, I just say I dated them. It's never true. Like, nah, hell nah. Hell nah. Y'all want me to date headaches? You want me to hold this bride? You want me to hold her down for 9 years? What I'm supposed to do? Y'all really believe Dr. Cheyenne Brown was? I'm joking, man. That shit's all jokes. But yeah, man, Alicia Andrews. I dated a girl named Alicia who spelled her name like that, so that's why. But Alicia Andrews, you got screwed by your lawyers. They should have begged you to take a plea deal. They should have begged your ass. She would have already been home. Her plea deal was basically 5 years. Go in there and tell them niggas that they did it. You're wasting years out of your life. Your daughter will be a teenager by the time you get out. She'll be, a sophomore in high school? So you'll be lucky if you make the damn junior prom or whatever. I don't know. I never went to none of that shit. I got kicked out of school, so it is what it is. But nah, man, I'm not seeing this shit. I'm not in agreement with what they did as far as the lawyers go. It's a win that she got on the stand, but she should have been taking a plea deal, bruh. Them boys was fried the moment they got caught. Them boys was fried the moment they started realizing all the evidence. But I guess it is what it is. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts on this one, but I'm pretty sure everybody in unison gonna agree with this one. Y'all enjoy your Friday, but y'all come back now because we got more shit for you. But keep up with this right here. Dirk. New evidence, old evidence, shit about to get thrown in the case. It's looking bad. I'll tell you the truth. Click right here for that video or click right here for the playlist. And like I say, y'all come on back now. I'll catch you on the next one.